Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do an install video for the 2001 Harley Davidson Fatboy. When I bought the bike, some of you Softail guys will know, or any of you Harley guys, the steering, the damper bushings for the handlebar risers, the Harley ones are rubber and they get a little squishy over time. I'm a little more aggressive rider, so I like to have a little bit stiffer handlebars, which was not fun riding this before. So I have already installed the polyurethane ones, but I'm going to take them out and put them back in and show you a quick little install video. Shouldn't take very long, fairly easy to do. You can do it with pretty common tools you have around the house. So let's get started with that. All right, so we're going to start the install on these polyurethane bushings. First thing you want to do, protect your bike. Cover your gas tank with a blanket, a towel, something. You're going to be moving some tools around by it, so you don't want to get those little dents and dings on it. Spend some good money on the bike. Let's protect that investment. All right, so the next thing you notice here, I kind of got you zoomed in. We're going to want to take the windshield off first. There are these little spring-loaded tabs right here and right down here to get the windshield off. So to do that, come around and you just take your hands and push up on those little spring-loaded tabs to unhook it. Pull forward, up over the headlight, and you're good to go. All right, so now we have the windshield removed. The next thing we want to do is the handlebar cover right here. We're going to want to take that off. Very easy to do that. All you're going to need is a number 4 Allen key. There are 2 bolts, one here and one here. So you just come in, take those 2 off. So, make sure you don't lose that little lock washer on that, or your Allen bit. Okay. Now this will pull right off, just like that. Put the bolts inside so you don't lose them. Set that off in a safe space. Nice chrome piece, you don't want to scratch it up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is loosen the nuts on loosen the bolts on the handlebar risers. For that, you're going to need a 5/8 inch socket, and the bolts are right back under here. If you got fat hands like me, might be kind of hard to get to, but you can kind of see them right in there. I'll see if I can zoom in on a different shot for you guys, but they're right here. Put your hand up there, you can kind of feel them, right? So what you want to do is get your socket up there, get it on there, okay, and go ahead and break it loose, okay. Go ahead and loosen that one up a fair amount. Come down to where it's finger loose. So you can go in there and feel that one's still pretty tight. So we're going to loosen that one up. I'll show you a kind of a quicker way to get this done. Once you get it loose, it's kind of what you want. Leave your handlebars and everything on during this step. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And then what we'll do is we go and switch over to the other side. So pretty much the same thing on the other side. kind of feel in here, feel where that handlebar riser bolt is, just so you kind of know where you're going to get lined up. And my apologies, it is a 3/4 inch socket is what you need for this. So get that lined up. And I found on this side, you're going to want to have a little extension on there. You don't really need it on the other side when you're doing that. You've got enough room, but when the handlebars are turned this way, if you don't have the extension up on there, you don't have that much room to get your socket handle in here. So just a little, 3-inch extension or 2-inch extension should really be all you need. That'll give you enough clearance to get down and actually get a turn and break those free. So just a little extension will help you out here on this side, on the left side. You don't need it so much on the right side, but I found on the left side it helps you out a lot. All right, so we have both of the handlebar riser bolts loose now. So I'm going to kind of show you a way to speed it up. Instead of, hitting here, doing a little eighth turns, that could take forever. A lot of people don't they're like, oh, I just want to loosen one up, pull my handlebars up, swing it out. I tried that first. It was pretty complicated. There's not too much extra work to take the handlebars off, put it back on. I know people oh, my handlebars are going to get loose. Just make sure you tighten them back down right, and you'll be okay. So we're going to loosen these up and get those off and kind of show you a quick way to get everything out without having to use the ratchet for 20 minutes. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to take the handlebars off the bike. So we're going to take the clamp. And to get the clamp off, you need a 1/4 inch Allen bit. Just untighten the 4 bolts. I already have these kind of loose because I just put these back on, but I figured I would make a video. Hold the handlebars, make sure they don't drop on anything while you loosen those up. You can use a regular Allen wrench if you want. I have the screwdriver adapter, makes it a little bit easier. All right, so we've got those loose. We can go ahead and get those out by hand now. So you kind of want to hold the clamp down. It's going to make it a little bit easier. Take that stress off the bolts as you're undoing them. Plus, you also just want to hold it so that it doesn't go falling off your bike and slam into your front fender. You can also cover your front fender. I don't have anything that can do that right now, so I'm going to be very careful as I'm changing this out. Okay, got all 4 bolts out. Set those in a safe place so you don't lose them. And usually I set mine back in top of the handlebar cover just so they're all in one place. And you take the top of the clamp off now. Set that aside. And then just bring your handlebars down, kind of out of the way. Like I said, make sure you get that towel or that blanket, something there protecting your gas tank. All right, so kind of make this a little bit easier. We got the handlebar riser bolts loose, so instead of having to sit there and slam your ratchet back and forth 100 times, this is a little bit easier trick. Move your front wheel forward, make sure you're not smashing anything. All right, and get your ratchet back up on the bolt there. Okay. So now you can just spin the riser off the bolt. Make sure you don't drop it. Lucky I didn't hit my fender. All right, so I already have the new bushings in. But what you do is so you can drop the bolt out and make sure, grab that with your finger, kind of get it in there. Oh, I gotta get the ratchet off here. Okay, because it's like the bolt's not gonna. When you pull it out, okay, make sure you take note of, you know, the way your washer and your lock nut and everything are on the bolt when you get that. Okay, so set that aside. Take the top washer off. Okay. Let's get some pliers for that. All right. You've got your top washer off now. Set that aside. All right. And then what you can do is you have the rubber bearings, bushings in here. You can just pull those out. The new ones, this is part of the new ones, the sleeve that comes with that. So I'm not trying to mess up the new ones, but you just kind of, if you take some needle nose, you can get the top out. You're going to have the old rubber ones in here, so you know you can just grab those, smash them, pull them out. You know, no big deal. These are the new ones already, so I don't want to mess those up. So it's the top one. You put that little sleeve back in. Now the bottom ones, just get you something to push those out. A 9/16 inch wrench works really good for that. It's about the same size. It's not going to push through the bushing, and what you can do is put it right here, take a piece of wood, rubber mallet, something, and you can just kind of pop it out just like that. Ta-da! The bottom bushing is out. And just make sure you keep all those together. These are the J&P Cycles polyurethane bushings. I think they were 30 bucks. I'll link them in the description below if you want to get them. J&P Cycles is an awesome website. They have a ton of stuff. I think you can also get the actual Harley Davidson ones if you're a purist, but I'm not spending that kind of money because I've got something just as good for less. So set those aside, okay? We'll go over to the other side here. There's a little bit of something you want to see on the other side. So spin this back. Watch your handlebars. All right, let's go tackle the other side. All right, so we're ready to do the right side now. If you loosen them up enough, like I said, I've already done this, so yours you may have to actually hold your ratchet on there to get enough leverage. I have already broken these free before, so they'll spin off pretty easy. So same thing, spin the right side handlebar riser off of the riser bolt, okay? Set that aside in the same spot. Boom. Now on the bottom here of this one, on the right side, I know like on the Softails, most of the Softail models, there is going to be a ground wire that's hooked to that. So that bolt is not going to come off or fall out very easily. So you just kind of let it hang there on the ground wire. Just make sure you catch the washer there. The washer is going to be the what comes in contact with the bushing. So it's pretty much going to be the only thing you're going to need to put on or replace. The bushings that I bought came with the new washers and the little end caps. So I'm using those. So just kind of secure that bolt. There's the lock nut and the ground wire and everything. So that bolt is just kind of hanging there free. There's another washer on top of there. You can kind of see a little washer that goes over the ground wire. So just kind of make sure that doesn't fall off. You know, keep an eye on that while you're working on there. So same thing for this one. Take the old cap off, get some pliers, pull the bushing out, tap the other one through the bottom, and then you're all good to go. Now to put it back on, so take the new clamp, or the new cap, put the new cap on the bolt there, slide that back on, and you can kind of rest it right there. So on this side, we'll actually show you putting them back in. So take the cap off, and we'll get the other bushing out. Take that out first. It's going to help. Be very careful because these are my new bushings. I don't want to mess them up. That one's off. Okay. Take a 9/16 wrench, put it on there, tap it down. The bushing is going to pop on the bottom, and the way with the handlebars sitting how they are now, it will probably get stuck down in here, and you're going to have to fish it out. Ah! So we have our bushing back. Okay. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to reinstall the new bushings. So on the top, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Take the first half of the bushing and pop it in like so. I'm going to go down, and you'll hear them and kind of feel them pop right into position. There. Okay, the bottom one, so take the other side of the bushing, okay, and you can sit the top cap back on that one right there. All right, I am just dropping stuff all over the place here. All right, so for the bottom one, put the sleeve in there, okay, and you're going to have the cap, and this is the little lock washer I was telling you about to watch out for. That's kind of between the cap and the ground wire, so put that on. Don't do that, or kick your tripod. That's why you should probably cover your front fender too. Oh, to both that. So put the sleeve through the bottom bushing, the cap on there, feed that all onto the bolt. Okay. Take a little finesse to get this back down and in. Or, sorry, redo that. Okay. So what you're going to want to do, take your bottom bushing, line it up here underneath. You can kind of swing that bolt out of the way, and you can come up here. It's a little tricky with bigger hands, but you can get that sleeve into the top bushing, and you can push that up as far as you can. So it's kind of a little tricky. You can usually seat that all the way in. Now put the lock washer and the cap back on the right bolt. Finagle that in. Turn it up. We'll look at the top. Line up the bolt. Push it through. Push that sleeve back down. Put the cap on. Okay, now you have the bolt through the top. Take your right side riser and twist that on. Okay? Now, what you want to do now is take your socket, all right, come up underneath, find that bolt, hold it on there, and then twist. Make sure you've got that lined up, but that will pretty much seat that bushing back in where it's supposed to on the bottom. And turn it, line it up. Okay, we'll do the other thing on the same thing on the other side. All right, so now we're on the left side. So you're going to want to turn your wheel back to the right. Make sure you don't dump your bike over, pinch your handlebars, smash anything, hurt your fingers, whatever else you could think of. Let me get my stand over here. All right, so now we've got room to work on this side. So what's easy on this side, there's no ground wire holding the riser bolt onto the bike. So it's pretty easy to get this one going. Again, make sure you note when you take it off, the order of the washers, anything that's on here when you put it on. So, same thing, top one, put the top one on, push that down in there. You'll kind of feel it snap into place when it's all the way seated. Put that top cap on there. Take your riser bolt, put everything on there. And this one, like I said, a little easier to do. You've got a little more room, and you don't have the bolt attached to, sorry, let me get my ass out of the way here. You don't have the bolt attached to a ground wire. So just kind of look from the top. Don't drop everything like I just did. Just saying, you got fat hands, it's going to be a little more technical to do this. But you'll get it, you'll figure it out. I have faith in you. I did it, you can do it. Okay, left side, very similar to the right side. We've pushed our top bushing in, got the plate on top, got everything lined up on the bolt for the bottom one. We are going to thread it nice and gently right up through that top bushing. Push everything in. You've got that bolt on the top now. Now grab your left side riser and thread that on there. Make sure everything's lined up right. Put a little tension on it. Okay. Now, what you can do is take your ratchet, again, 3/4 inch ratchet underneath. Make sure. Now, to tighten these up, before you tighten the bushings back up, because these will spin. So we're going to want to put the handlebars back on. At this point, we're going to want to put the handlebars back on. Because when you go to tighten these down all the way, the risers are going to spin, unless you just have like super clamp hands and you can hold it while you're doing that. I don't. So we're going to line everything back up, and we're going to put the handlebars back on. All right, so kind of turn the front wheel again. Make sure you got everything lined up properly. Okay. Make sure you're not pinching any of the wires or anything here. Just kind of get those, take your 4 bolts and get those started in. Make sure everything lines up. Take tension off of them if you need to. You don't want to bind these up and strip out these bolts. That would be a bad thing, because then you will be replacing your bolts or your risers if you strip those out, because you need all that to work properly to keep your handlebars nice and tight so they don't flop around on you. Floppy handlebars are not good. Alright, so we are just going to kind of go ahead and roughly line all this up real quick and just kind of tighten these down where the handlebars stay up out of the way for right now. Okay, we're not going to over tighten these or tighten these all the way back down right now. We are just going to tighten them up so the handlebars stay out of the way. Alright, so we've got everything lined back up. Okay, take your 3/4 inch socket, push the wheel all the way back. Make sure I'm going the right way. Yep. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Come underneath. Find that bolt. Okay. Here. All right. Now, tighten that all the way back down, or most of the way. You want to get that tight. And you can see under here a little bit where everything is. You want to make sure that that riser bushing is seated up in there all the way. So we'll tighten this side up. That is pretty tight there. Okay. And we'll move over to the other side. All right, so now we're ready to tighten up the right side riser bolt. Same thing, find that bolt under there. You can barely see it, but you'll feel it. Make sure your blanket, towel, whatever you've chosen, is protecting your gas tank, because that your ratchet handle will clink off of that if you are not super careful. And you'll feel that bushing go up and seat all the way in there, and tighten that guy up. There we go. So that guy is tight all the way now. All right, I'm not gonna show you, but we're gonna cut. We're gonna check the other side. You know, kind of like when you do a wheel or your handlebars, you tighten one side, the other one. You know, you get tension on there. It feels tight, but it's not once you tighten the other one down all the way. So I'm not gonna show you this, but that's just something you don't want to check. Check the left side again after you get this one tight. Go back and forth. And make sure that you get all the play out of there and you get those really tightened up, because you don't want sloppy handlebars. That's the whole reason that we are replacing the riser bushings in the first place. All right, so once you have your bolts for your risers all tightened back up, go ahead and tighten your handlebars back all the way up to your desired rider position. Make sure you get these guys tight. You don't want them coming loose on you on a ride. you know, don't, and like I said, don't over tighten them. You strip them out. You may strip out the riser threads in there. If you need to, if you're not, you know, confident, or if you don't have a torque wrench, you know, I don't have a torque wrench, but I've worked on a lot of things. A little blue Loctite in there. You know, if you don't plan on ever moving them, again, just keep them from backing out, keep them a little tighter on you. So you have it. That is installing the new handlebar riser damper bushings. Hit the like button, thumbs up. Please subscribe if you want to see more content. I got a whole big box of stuff I'm going to be putting on this bike. I'm going to be doing install videos for all of it, so if you want to see all that, make sure you subscribe. Also got a lot more content coming up for a couple big rides I'm doing here in the next month or so. Until next time, happy riding, keep the shiny side up.